I mean, this is an issue that affects all of us. And, we, as the homeless left, I know I grew up caring about, all kinds of people, everybody, supporting the rights, supporting people to have happy lives, no matter what race, background, where you're coming from. We always want to be inclusive. But it seems like this issue has gotten so far out of hand. It's divided people. And really, I think the word that you brought up with me, Nika, was xenophobia. That's something I feel like it's more in the air than ever before. I don't know. It seems
fear of the other.
Yeah, that's right. Fear of the other, which then turns to hate. The moment I think that best exemplifies that in recent time was when Trump took that escalator ride down and announced his presidency. I think to do, what did he call them, Nika? Do you remember that? The escalator ride?
Yeah. You have a clip of it?
I feel like they overplayed. They actually, this is why we're covering this. CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, when he did that, they played that clip over and over and over and over. And it was just to really just kind of beat it into our heads that we are on these two sides. And I have to say, like, now looking back, I know that affected a lot more people, especially people that weren't white like me. I know because my fiance
weren't white like you.
They really were affected by that. Like my fiance, Leslie, she was born here. She actually part of our Sherwood Players group. She actually does photography for us. This is us at our last event in Christmas. She's born here, but she's, Mexican and El Salvadorian. And this is, she's an RN. She came up in this system of, helping people and surrounding by all sorts of cultures and races and people, but just trying to just be here and helping people. Her whole family. Now they immigrated. Her parents immigrated here from Guadalajara, Mexico, and from El Salvador. And they're really close. They're really tight. And this is, they had a struggle, just getting here and just trying to work their asses off to make something happen here. And like, it's, this idea that we're going to separate ourselves and have this vision that that people are coming here, the other is coming here, and they're taking advantage of a system, and they're trying to take away from what we have, and that's just very inaccurate. And then you get into this like the fear that turns to hate, and then you just elevated this hatred that's going all over the place. And I've seen it firsthand, getting close with her family and really seeing how it can personally affect people. So how can we have these conversations and say, what, this isn't real. We have to stand up to this theater that's being played right in our face. I don't know. I think that we need to have an honest conversation about this and say that I believe we're getting played against each other on purpose. So we will be focused on our neighbor being the enemy. And we can go on and on about all the ways they do that. But in this particular way, we have to have empathy for our neighbors and their struggles and what they're going through. And specifically, Leslie, I want to say this: working in healthcare, working at Kaiser, if anybody thinks that immigrants come here and when they're undocumented, you think they're taking advantage of a system, they're not. They're actually not going to the hospital. They're not doing things because they don't have that social security number. Now, obviously, her parents, now her family, they legitimately got everything, and they're good. But there's so many that haven't, and they've been left out on the sideline. And if you think for a second these people are taking advantage, there's nothing to take advantage of. They have no social security. They can't even.
Well, there's some people can get fake ones, or they can steal ones, of course. But I'm not saying that's what everybody does, but that happens.
But think about the ones that they get sick and they have no options. They're not going to go. They're just I can't do anything. I'm just going to.
Well, there's a huge amount of fear of deportation to even access public services. So there's a lot of evidence that people that are immigrants that are here undocumented illegally are not using the services. But I think there's a sort of a historical bias or double standard that we apply. It's like, we forget this is a country of immigrants. This is a melting pot. That's what made America great. It was bringing in the best people from around the world, people with the will and the sense of exploration and wanting to take risks to have a better life. is what this country was built on. And, all the people that are criticizing that there's immigration, they came here at some point, maybe a couple were here since the founding fathers, but most people came later. And there's sort of a historical double standard that's applied to a lot of issues. Like when we look at, Israel is very controversial, and their treatment of the Palestinians, whatever your feeling is about Israel's handling of that situation. Most modern nations, or a lot of them, did those things, but it was only 100 years ago. We wiped out the Indians, and so that was okay somehow that our country did that then and founded our country now. But now we can't. I'm not saying it's justified in the current day, but we have to sort of look at things in context. And I think that the idea that there's only two sides to this issue, and that you're either unappreciative and you are racist, or you want to protect American jobs and protect border security, is kind of a red herring. It's a false debate because clearly, like, if we were to just stop immigration, our economy would suffer drastically. If you look at the California being the salad bowl of America, what would happen to that industry, for example, if you stopped immigration? It would make the price of food go way, way up. So, this is a long-term issue. We need a gradual solution. But, I think there's sensible arguments on both sides that, immigrants are valuable to this country, and that we can expand legal immigration policy. And that also, the flooding in of illegal drugs and the human trafficking that goes on across the border is a humanitarian crisis. And it's not something that we should just allow to continue because we value immigration or we don't want to have quote unquote racist policies. So there's some middle ground here, and that's what we're trying to find.